For years, India's growth, from its economy to public safety, dealt with a specific type of friction. Systems operated in silos, meaning every interaction required navigating an institutional hurdle to get from point A to point B. Look at physical trade. Manufacturers operating in special economic zones, or SEZs, were often walled off from the domestic market. Goods produced in India couldn't easily reach Indian consumers without a tangle of regulatory requirements. Even entertainment had its barriers. Massive sporting events like the IPL were traditionally one-way streets. Millions of people sat on their couches watching linear television with little ability to query or analyze the game as it happened. In the most critical cases, this friction was a matter of life and death. When a massive cyclone materialized over the ocean, disaster management often meant disjointed agencies reacting only after the storm had already made landfall. By 2026, a series of infrastructure projects and policy updates began to address these barriers directly. In an increasingly competitive global market, the goal is to transition away from these isolated silos toward a more fluid exchange of goods, data, and information. This shift is visible in how we consume media. The habit of an entire family staring at a single living room TV is changing. During the 2026 IPL, exclusive television viewership fell to under 19%. This chart shows where the audience is moving. Linear TV viewership has contracted to 18.98%, while nearly 70% of fans now watch the tournament across both TV and digital streaming platforms simultaneously. To meet this dual-screen habit, the BCCI and Google introduced a feature called AI Mode directly into search results for the 2026 tournament. This graphic shows how live play now integrates with statistical analysis. Instead of checking a static scorecard, fans can ask the AI detailed questions about tactical decisions or player stats while the match is in progress. This engagement continues well outside of match hours. Viewers are increasingly seeking out bite-sized highlights throughout the day, particularly clips of Super Sixes and fall of wicket replays. By providing immediate access to analytics and highlights, the gap between the broadcast and the viewer is narrowing. It turns a passive viewing experience into a more continuous digital interaction. This same logic of removing barriers is being applied to trade through the 2026 Union Budget. This map displays the national distribution of India's special economic zones. A new framework now allows these 368 zones to supply a portion of their goods directly into the domestic tariff area. Looking at the clusters in the south, Tamil Nadu with 58 zones, Telangana with 51, and Karnataka with 50, opening up domestic sales allows these factories to utilize their existing capacity to serve local markets more efficiently. Connecting these goods and people to the rest of the world requires updated physical networks, such as Phase 1 of the Noida International Airport. This 11,200 crore rupee project is designed to handle 12 million passengers annually in its first phase as a multimodal hub. Barriers are also falling in the tourism sector. In the Northeast, new circuits connect remote Buddhist pilgrimage sites directly to organized travel networks. Linking export zones to domestic buyers and building new transit hubs is designed to turn isolated regions into a more integrated domestic economy. Perhaps the most critical area for removing delays is the management of large-scale natural disasters. Historically, disaster management relied on a relief-centric model, where coordination often began only after the damage had already occurred. This graphic illustrates a shift toward prevention. The National Disaster Database and Dynamic Composite Risk Atlas place AI at the center of multiple meteorological data streams. Machine learning models process massive datasets, tracking rainfall, wind, and seismic activity to generate forecasts in real time. This leads to an automated early warning system, helping authorities facilitate targeted evacuations for vulnerable communities before a disaster strikes. By sharing centralized intelligence, the goal is to predict outcomes, minimize the damage, and prevent delayed responses. The cricket fan querying a database, the manufacturer moving cargo through a multimodal hub, and the resident receiving an automated weather alert are all part of the same trend. Though they exist in different sectors, each of these interactions is made possible by the complete removal of institutional silos. This creates a system that responds to consumer behavior, market demand, and nature in real time. The success of these initiatives relies on maintaining this flow of information and material across both digital platforms and physical spaces. These examples, in cricket, trade, and disaster response, demonstrate a shift in how these systems operate. By addressing the friction of the past, India's individual sectors are beginning to function as a more cohesive national framework.